Yes.
Is Dead of Night going to be part of a series?
It is pitched right now. It is written to be a standalone novel.
Okay.
There is potential for a further novel. In fact, my editor asked me for a pitch for what the next novel could be. I'm willing to write another one. I have Fall of Night is the working title for the follow-up if they go that way. I don't know. It's one of those things where it would be novels set in that world, not necessarily following the same characters. Not all, as you've known from when I've written, not all of my characters make it out of the book.
Yeah.
That's kind of a thing with me because people die in war. So characters that survive this would probably be supporting characters in a follow-up book because the story would get bigger at that point. But yeah, and by the way, the one character that will not show up in that, if we do a series, is Joe Ledger in this one, because this is the only one that's kind of isolated from the Joe Ledger stuff. Though there are references to Pine Deep, so who knows? Maybe Joe will show up. You never know. Last minute. Yes.
Any plans to work with Hollywood at all? I mean, the Ledger novels would be.
Oh, you
awesome.
Guess you didn't hear about this. Patient Zero and the first 3 Joe Ledger books were optioned by Michael DeLuca, the producer. So don't get too excited yet. But Michael DeLuca, who produced Seven and Magnolia and the Blade movies, he optioned it and took it to he optioned it on behalf of Sony. Sony commissioned Javier Grillo-Marxuach, screenwriter from Lost, to write a pilot script. And it was a pretty good pilot script, though there were some substantial differences. It was called Department Zero. I didn't mind that change. In fact, I liked it so much that in King of Plagues, I even refer to the LA office of the DMS as Department Zero. Rudy became a woman in the script. And Joe's partner, they were a team of homicide detectives in LA. But it was a good script, and Javier's a buddy of mine, and he won an Emmy for writing first season of Lost. A lot of it he created the Hatch and that stuff for Lost, so he's a really good writer. Middlemen was a comic book that he adapted into a TV series. It was fun, but it got all the way down to the point at ABC where they had 2 show pitches on their desk, and it was either Department Zero or the remake of Charlie's Angels. And if you've seen the fall schedule, you know which one's going to be on the fall schedule. So I guess next time we pitch to anywhere near ABC, I'll put Joe Ledger in a thong bikini. That should be. So it is being shopped around again. The only thing is we've changed the pitch. We're no longer using Patient Zero as the first book in the pitch. We're using King of Plagues. It's more mainstream. There is already a very successful zombie show on television, so we don't want to. And one of the things that killed the pitch is people were calling it the zombie show, and it wasn't a zombie show. Pilot episode was zombies, but they don't. They're afraid of trying to compete with a successful show. I love Walking Dead, so I don't want to compete with it either. I mean, I freaking love that show. So I'd rather it be what it's supposed to be, which is Joe Ledger and the DMS fighting weird bad guys, on a regular basis. There is some possibility, it might land somewhere like Showtime, in which case they would take each book and make a season out of it. Mm-hmm. Cool with that. Yeah. And people ask the question of, would I mind if do I mind the changes they want to make? Actually, I don't. I've talked to Charlene Harris about this. She writes the Sookie Stackhouse books that True Blood's based on. And I sat down at another event, had some drinks with Jeff Lindsay, who writes the Dexter novels. And Tanya Huff, who had her series on vampire series on TV. So I have some friends who have shows on TV, and none of them resemble the books. I mean, they really don't. The only one that does is Game of Thrones. All of the others don't resemble the books because a book isn't designed to go on screen. You can take certain elements, and also, like changing Rudy to a woman doesn't really affect the storyline. A guy can have a best friend who's a woman. It can happen. Doesn't have to have a romantic tension there. So that doesn't change the dynamic of the show. What it does is increases the demographic because your 2 lead characters are male and female, which draws in more audience. I get the math on that. And it's funny, they have replaced Cobbler, Joe's cat, with a dog in the script. And that was even before I gave them King of Plagues, which I was writing at the time. So, because they know that more people like dogs. People do not respond well to cats on TV. They respond well to dogs on TV. I don't think it's fair. I had cats my whole life. I'm still mourning for the actual cobbler who died a couple of years ago. He was a real cat, 19 years old. And when he got sick, I put him in the Joe Ledger books. So he would always be with Joe. I don't really care if they change too much. I would like to be the guy doing the fight choreography, in the show. That was something that my agent knows that I want to do, because I don't want to see Joe do, like, in the script, Javier, who had studied Thai kickboxing, had Joe do Thai martial arts. And it's like, I have great respect for it, but that's not what Joe would use. That's still, even though it comes from a fighting system, the modern version of it's still a sport. Joe doesn't do sports. He'll come to sports, a pickup basketball game. He probably cheats doing that. I would want to do the fight choreography, but we'll see what happens. I mean, we're getting some Hollywood interest in Rotten Ruined, that series. That I would like to see. I could see it really easily as a TV show, with kind of an old West feel, because it was written in the structure of a Western. From a purely business point of view, if they do it on screen, on TV or film, and people say, that's not the book, they'll tell their friends to go get the book. I want people to read my words. I want people to share the fun that I'm having writing them. And if they love the movie, they'll go out and buy the book too. So, either way, the books sell better. Jeff Lindsay, who wrote Dexter, was managing a hardware store when Dexter sold. He told me he was making $38,000 a year when Showtime bought Dexter, and now he's rich. Side note: he's not allowed on the set of Dexter anymore because Michael Hall, the guy who plays Dexter, thinks Jeff is too creepy. Jeff was telling Charlotte and I and he were sitting there drinking some bourbon at DragonCon, and we were having some food, and Jeff was cutting a steak because he's telling us about this, and we're like, why? He's Dexter. And he's like, well, I was explaining to him that when you hold a knife, you need to look through the knife, through the blade, to see its beauty and its perfection and its potential. And Charlene reaches over and goes, okay, I think we pushes a drink in front of me. You need that more than you need that. So, now, if I was him, I would be telling everybody that Dexter thought I was too creepy. But he's just, it doesn't occur to him that that's weird. So, we were wondering later on that perhaps Dexter is his method of therapy. On paper rather than acted out. Not sure. And if you read the Dexter books, that character is much less adapted to society than the character in the shows. He's much nicer in the show. The books are wonderful. And actually, I just want to take a side note to talk about